Okay, welcome to Unit 2, where we're going to explore the use of open educational resources, or OER. There are two parts to this unit. The first one is to work out where it is we need to find OER for. What are the curriculum challenges? What are the particular needs of particular learners that we want to address? And then the second part, and the main part of the work, involves where can we find OER and how can we adapt them for use. So in any classroom, there are some learners who struggle with particular topics, and there are some topics in the curriculum where nearly all learners struggle. And most of us have found some additional resources or created some additional resources to help to address those challenges. Very often, we have made photocopies or taken pictures from all rights reserved copyrighted textbooks on the basis of fair usage in the classroom. However, when we go online, we have to be much more careful because there could be thousands of learners who access these resources. So we need to find resources that we have the right to use and reuse. But we don't have to find resources for the entire curriculum. We need to focus on what are the problem issues and areas. As a way into thinking about that, you need to think about your own experience. You have been teaching your particular subject maybe for a year or 2 years or 10 years. You know what are the areas of the curriculum that are problematic, and you know your learners. You know that a particular learner maybe is a little short-sighted, or another learner has a hearing impairment. And so one needs to find resources that will address those particular issues. The set of questions provided here might help you to select which parts of the curriculum you need to find additional resources for. Obviously, we have to be very careful about what resources we share with our learners. And so we're looking for resources that are licensed as open educational resources. They could be pictures, they could be textbooks, they could be worksheets. There's a whole lot of different things that might fall under the ambit of open educational resources. Here is an example. Here's a resource. It's a photograph I took on my iPhone in Kruger National Park a few years ago. It's a picture of a yellow-billed hornbill. A picture like this could be used in lots of different ways, on a greetings card, in a calendar, on wrapping paper, and such like. It becomes an educational resource when a teacher develops an activity around it. In a similar vein, for example, a teacher might use a water bottle in a classroom and then use that water bottle to get the learners to think about where does the water come from. Is the bottle recyclable? So teachers every day take everyday resources and make them into educational resources by developing activities. Now, supposing you found this activity on the internet and decided you might like to use it, would you be able to do so? Strictly speaking, no, because in terms of the Berne Convention that most countries have signed up to, any created resource has an implied all rights reserved copyright attached to it, even if it doesn't explicitly say so. So you're looking for resources that are openly licensed. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that this resource now has an open license that says CC BY. This is probably one of the most open licenses that we can have. What that license allows me to do is, without paying any fees, without asking for any permission, is to adapt the resource for a different purpose. And so, for example, you see we have made the picture, we've cropped the picture, we have changed the activity, and that is possible because it is openly licensed. We have acknowledged the original source, and we have shared who has created the new resource. This is the wonderful thing about openly licensed resources. We can retain them, and we can reuse them, and we can revise them. What is important here, and probably the most useful thing to come out to support education in recent years, is the Creative Commons licensing series. When you work through the PowerPoint in your own time, if you click on the link in the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to find out more about this licensing system. There are 6 main variations of the license. CC BY means you must acknowledge your source. CC BY no commercial use means that you can't make a profit from the resources. CC BY ND means you cannot make any derivatives. You must use the source as is. CC BY SA means share alike. This is the Commonwealth of Learning's preferred license. You can make a change to the resource, but then you should share back the changed resource. And then you get combinations. So acknowledge your source, no commercial use, and share alike. We don't particularly like the last 2 for educational purposes because they don't allow us to make changes. And very often when we find a resource on the internet, we need to adapt it slightly for a better fit for our target learners. You can think of it as a continuum. At one end, we have the least restrictive resources that are in the public domain. The works of Shakespeare, public policy very often is freely available. The default is at the opposite end of the spectrum. If it doesn't say anything, you have to assume it's all rights reserved to copyright and act accordingly. One of the major thinkers in this area, David Wiley, he talks about 5 R's for open content. The right for us to retain after we have downloaded something. The right to reuse it for different purposes. The right to revise it. The right to remix it, putting it together with other things. And the right to redistribute it to new audiences. When you work through the PowerPoint in your own time, if you click on the link, you'll be able to find out more about these different rights. So the first activity that you will do when you work through this PowerPoint in your own time is helping you to find open content. This is content that is openly licensed. And the guide will take you through 8 steps to finding content that will meet your particular curriculum purposes to address the needs of your particular learners. The second activity will then help you to take those resources and build them into an online lesson. We would advise you, once you've gone through this exercise, to share what you think you have learned from this in an appropriate discussion forum, to get feedback from your peers and from your mentors. You can find more information about open educational resources by clicking on the link here, and here you will find our guide to open educational resources, policy issues, and quality issues, and such like. We also have developed a set of quality guidelines for open educational resources. If you click on this link, you'll be able to download it for free and access it as you need. We also have a course on understanding open educational resources that is self-paced. If you'd like to learn more, you can click on the link and register for the course. There are lots of different factors that impact on how we can make learning in the online space more effective. Critical is that as teachers and learners, we have access to appropriate content. So units 1 and 2 have asked you to think about how can we use activities to guide learners to using existing content like their prescribed textbooks. And then in Unit 2, how we can use open educational resources to supplement the textbook with additional guidelines and resources for troublesome curriculum areas. A second leg is support for learners at a distance, and this will be discussed in Unit 3 of the course. And then the fourth leg is providing appropriate assessment instruments and feedback on those instruments, and that will be discussed in Unit 4. So we hope that you found the first 2 units useful and that you're looking forward to working in Unit 3.